Ever wonder what BFS fishing is? Have you seen it all over the internet and you're like, I don't really understand what BFS or bait finesse systems really is, and how can that help me catch these highly pressured fish? What's up everyone, it's Jose here with KastKing, and I'm here to talk about BFS or bait finesse systems that has absolutely exploded over the past few years in popularity, from being utilized in tournaments to targeting big fish on these pressured waters. What BFS really is a way to give a subtle presentation. We're talking about smaller baits down to 1/32 and you're down to 1/64 even if you're that daring. And there is specific techniques that are really only done on BFS, but at the same time, you need to have the entire system there for you to be effective at throwing those techniques. Some of those techniques are finesse tubes, small, tiny jig heads, to even I've seen people throw maybe larger flies. Micro Texas rig is another big one, but at the same time, you can utilize BFS to do your stuff that you would normally have to do with a spinning reel setup. And that's your drop shot, your Neko rigging, your Diamiki rigs, and all these other finesse techniques. Now you can do them with the speed, power, and accuracy of a bait caster. So as I said, this is bait finesse system, and the reel, while it is the heart of the system, is not the only part. Now you can't just take any reel, throw a shallow spool in it, and call it a BFS reel. And at the same time, you can't just take that reel, throw it on a heavy power rod, and call it a BFS setup. It's a full system that is utilized to really do these specific techniques. And the reel I wanted to feature today is the Kestrel Elite. The Kestrel Elite BFS is only 4.4 ounces. It's able to do that with a magnesium frame and carbon fiber side plates. It has a super feather light shallow spool. Now that shallow spool is the key ingredient on making a BFS reel, simply because having a shallower spool is less line, so that causes less friction for the reel to be able to cast those light lures out. The braking system on here is the fly out arc finesse system. So it's automatic, not digital, but the magnets will actually expand and contract on their own depending on the centrifugal force and the speed of the spool. An amazing braking system. This is overall just a beautiful reel. I mean, it's made incredibly strong, throws and casts those light lures out exactly where you need to. And at an 8.5 to 1, it's still super fast. Next component I wanted to talk to you all about is the rod. Now, why is the rod so important? Because as I said before, if you put a BFS reel on top of a heavy rod, you're not going to be able to cast those micro lures or those smaller presentations. What I have in front of me right now is the Kestrel rod. The Kestrel rod from KastKing is beautifully made with an IM8 Torrey carbon blank, American Tackle TI guides, and an American Tackle reel seat. The Kestrel rod is amazing because it combines popular stuff both in your traditional BFS rods, and it has brought it and applied it to the American market. Traditionally, your overseas BFS rods have a lot of tip in them. They're very whippy, obviously, because it needs to be able to load up to throw those really light lures. So this one, while it still has a very soft tip, this is the ultralight. This can go down to 1/32 ounce. Now the featherlight can go down to 1/64. The ultralight and the light are normally what a lot of people are going to be using. Normally it has like a small style pistol grip, but this has the split grip, which we are normally going to see here on the American market. So it's took cues from what is popular in the American market and still stayed true to its BFS roots with the tip and the lighter actions. So as I said, there's a light, an ultralight, and a feather light. I was throwing around a 1/16 ounce finesse tube, and the ultralight was absolutely perfect for really gunning that jig head out there. Now, if you're gonna be utilizing a BFS setup to do your drop shot, Neko rigging, Ned rigs, stuff of that nature, I'd really recommend the light version. The light version can handle up to a 1/4 ounce of weight and is just simply phenomenal. So as said about the BFS, the last part in that is the line. Your line is super important. Of course, I'm not gonna throw 12 pound, 15 pound 25-pound mono, fluoro, 65-pound braid. That's not gonna happen when you're BFS on your light setups. But what KastKing has is your 13X Finesse. Your 13X Finesse Cast Pro line is our signature finesse line. It's 13X, so it's 12 strands wrapped around a solid core. The castability, smoothness of this line is incredible. It maintains its color, so you're not gonna have dye all on your hands. The chartreuse is gonna stay chartreuse for a long time. But it's really smooth getting out of the reel, getting through the guides, and it's phenomenal, but it's not strength. Now, if you wanna go braid to leader, or if you don't want to run braid at all, I highly recommend our tripolymer. Our tripolymer right here is the crappie version. Our tripolymer is an advanced monofilament. This isn't your old monofilament that you're used to seeing, where it's real thick, lots of stretch, very difficult to use, and you don't really want a lot of stretch when utilizing these BFS technique, obviously, because you're not gonna be able to really slam a hook set like you normally would. So the limited stretch, the tri-head excursion process of creating this tripolymer is absolutely amazing. Knot strength is phenomenal, and this is primarily what I use a lot, not only for the finesse side, but through and through. It also has zero light infraction, so it's virtually invisible underwater. In fact, it's the benefits of mono and the benefits of fluorocarbon, but at a ridiculously low price. What I thought initially when thinking about BFS is that it wasn't necessarily something I was going to take serious, but after actually getting out and doing it, now, I mean, it is absolutely addicting and it is fun. For me, it's brought back a lot of fun down to fishing. Sometimes it's not fun when you have to downsize, when you find yourself picking up maybe a crappie rod and reel or crappie jigs to get those bites that are needed. Now I'm able to downsize and make these subtle techniques utilizing a bait caster. So it's absolutely phenomenal, and all of this gear is available to KastKing. So if you're looking to get into the BFS world, I highly recommend you check out the Kestrel Elite BFS reel, the Kestrel rods, 13X Finesse line, and tripolymer. So again, I'm Jose. Make sure you like, comment, and share this post, and I'll be back at you next week with more KastKing gear.